Working in retail is never easy, especially when you have to deal with a bunch of crazies. Welcome to this episode of Tales from Retail. Our first tale is from Labby Coon, titled "Woman Says She'll Never Shop Here After We Call an Ambulance for Her." I work at a drugstore, third shift. Today we had a customer come in saying that a woman was slumped over and unresponsive in her car. I went out and knocked until she rose and asked if she was okay. She said she was, and I asked if she needed me to call someone for her. She said no, and I took her card in. A few minutes later, our newspaper deliverer comes in and says that the woman is slumped over again and that we may need to call 911. He had been coming in as I was going out to check on her. So I call 911 and explain that a woman is not responding well and keeps passing out, almost like she's having a stroke or something. I remain outside as dispatch sends an ambulance and I point her out. As they're trying to get her to cooperate enough to get onto a stretcher, a fire truck and several police cars pull up. The police check her for alcohol or drug use to ensure she's not overdosing or under the influence. In the process, an officer takes her purse and keys and sets them on the roof of the car as the woman is constantly rummaging through her purse while the police are trying to talk to her and her car is started and running. Suddenly, she's on the phone yelling, "They took my purse! They stole my purse!" Her husband comes barreling into the scene in a pickup, stopping just short of hitting the officers, and embraces his wife. He asks where her purse is, and the officers tell him it's on the roof of the car. The husband makes a beeline for the purse as the officers tell him to stop and that he's impeding an investigation. When he doesn't stop, he's slammed into the car and put in handcuffs. His wife is screaming at them to stop and to not arrest him, and they're trying to let her know that he's not under arrest, he's just being detained for obstruction. They get her back in the car and are trying to explain to her the reason they showed up. She jabs her finger in my direction as she's going on incoherently, and the only thing I hear is, "I am never shopping here again." The officer continues to attempt to reason with her, to try to explain that we called for her well-being and were concerned, but she was too upset to listen. They ended up letting the husband take the wife home. The officer later came in and explained to me that the woman was under the influence of prescription medication and that she was not allowed to be operating a motor vehicle while using it. They let me know that it's the same as driving drunk and to please call again if she exhibits similar symptoms, as she is irregular. So now I'm looking forward to a complaint or negative review about how I called the police on a customer because she was unconscious in a running car. It's pretty sad that she freaks out like that when people are genuinely just looking out for her safety, because she clearly isn't doing it herself. Our next tale is by Alexandra is Amazy, titled "Receipts Are Confusing." I work as a customer service representative at a department store. I deal with all kinds of complaints and problems daily. This lady, who I will call Clueless Customer, takes the cake. I greet her and start the return process. I scan the receipt, then the item, and then inform her of how much money she will be getting back. She was taken aback and said, "That is not how much I paid for these jeans. I know that I paid full price. Just look at my receipt." I look at the receipt and there is exactly one item on the receipt, so there is no mistake. She paid $10.60 before taxes for these pants. It is the only item on her receipt. It says clearance in bold with the clearance price printed next to it. There is a clearance sticker on these pants. My total matches the receipt total. I show her and she can't find where it says clearance, with me pointing. I pull out my highlighter and highlight all the relevant information. Clueless Customer looks at the receipt now, with the clearance price and total highlighted in bright yellow. She still insists she paid full price because the word clearance doesn't mean anything. I clarify that this is the receipt and these are indeed the pants she purchased. After 15 minutes of explaining receipts, clearance prices, and how totals work, she agreed to take her refund back for the amount that the receipt said, which is what I offered her to begin with. My guess is she was trying to scam you and hoping you were stupid and didn't understand how receipts actually worked, when in reality, it was her who was the stupid one. Our next tale is from J.H. Requiem, titled "Pull Your Car Up Front so we can assist you, but not like that." So I work at a grocery store, but every now and then we receive special non-food products to attract new customers. A few weeks ago, a cheap treadmill was on sale, which is, of course, very heavy. A man expresses to me and my manager that he would like to purchase one, but understandably would require assistance getting it to his vehicle. After going through checkout, my manager asks the gentleman to pull his van up to the front. Well, the gentleman did a bit more than that. Or maybe he took it too literally. He had backed his car so close to the entrance-exit doors that he was about a foot from hitting them, if they weren't automatic, and was completely blocking traffic in both directions with his van. Our front doors serve as both the entrance and exit. He proceeds to open his trunk, and my manager flips out. "Sir, you can't do that!" All the while, the man is standing there with his trunk open, raising his arms like, "Hurry up!" It was crazy, but honestly, it was hilarious in a way. Some people just don't think, and this is a clear example of somebody who clearly didn't think. I guess they thought that those doors were specifically for them and them alone. And our final tale is by Disney Bell, titled "The Worst Return Ever." Background: I worked for over 6 years in a big box retailer in the southern US. 3 of those years was in a supervisory capacity over the cashiers. This also included making decisions on questionable returns. This story is from my supervisor days, and it is about 2 years old. One day I'm working, and at the customer service counter we have 2 ladies, Crazy Couponer 1 and Crazy Couponer 2. They bring in multiple shopping bags full of over-the-counter pharmacy, makeup, health and beauty aids. There were hundreds of individual items. As per policy, they have 5 different receipts for these items. When we look at the receipts, all the items being returned were bought with coupons. As per policy, we had to refund the price of the coupon as well, meaning even though they did not pay full price for the item, they got full price back as a return. Normally this is not a problem, but these ladies had hundreds, over 5 transactions, and because of the departments they were from, most of the items had to be tagged to be processed as reclamations. They could not go back onto the shelf. Now, for those of you who think that's not so bad, it took me and 2 customer service workers over 2 hours to process all this. They were scanning and I was tagging. We ended up with an entire cart full of merchandise that was going to be thrown away. I was wore out by the time this was over, but I definitely feel like we were used as a bank. Even when I asked management specifically, the manager overprotecting our assets, including money, said we had to follow policy and our hands were tied. Edit. Thanks so much for your input. I do want to clarify that this happened about 2 years ago, and as far as I know, no one was punished for what happened. Another thing, these returns had taken time away that could have been spent on other customers needing to do returns, as these customers took up both of registers and made it harder for us to help other customers. Also, I knew there was going to be a problem right away and asked management's input, and they told me to go ahead. Also, QR/malicious compliance. I even asked Asset Protection Manager as a second opinion, and they also told me, go ahead. Edit 2. Please do not try this at any stores. This happened 2 years ago. Could be considered illegal depending on local laws. Most stores are probably wise to this scam by now. All I've got to say is processing all of that had to have been an absolute nightmare, and the fact that they knew exactly what they were doing and still just trying to con the system is wrong. I think it'll come back and bite them in the future. Alright, that's enough tales for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Tales from Retail. Sorry if that last one sounds a little different. I literally had to record it about 10 different times because where I live, I hate by the way, is on a street, so all these cars decided today was the day they needed to drive by and be loud, so my voice is taxed now. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell and drop a comment down below. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons, have a great day and stay safe out there.